𝐷Vinny.com.
Well, look at there. I'm here. Time out. I got a little choked up at the beginning of my show there. I think I tried to drink that coffee too fast. Hey, but I'm okay. I'm supposed to get applause when I say that. I'm okay. Well, welcome in on this Friday in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team. Farm Bureau Insurance all across the great state of Mississippi. You have made it to the end of the week.
It's finally Friday. I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday.
Finally Friday, and you can be a part of the show. It's a little bit of a free-for-all Friday, and it's going to be fun. This is a live radio show, and we're going to do some interviews today. Yeah, we are. How about that for a change up?
We'll be working on doing all the wrong things right. It's Friday.
So you can be a part of it, and if we have a guest on the phone today on the 𝐷Vinny Equipment phone line, just send me a question if you want me to ask them one. All right, so you can be a part of it if you're out there on YouTube or Facebook or X, formerly Twitter. Feel free to drop a comment in there or a question. Comments, opinions, otherwise, forever hold your peace. You can also text me today on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. It is the best sausage. Hands down, not close. Last night at First Baptist Jackson, we had the sportsman's banquet, and I got to be there and do some speaking and meet a lot of people, and they gave out a bunch of great door prizes. It was awesome, and they fed us some great food. They fed us some great food, and let me just tell you, it included, okay, the food included frog legs. It included, what else did it include? Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. It included country pleasing sausage. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. So, you know, I got a feel of it last night. This morning I had to get up and drive early, so I didn't have the normal breakfast routine, so I didn't eat as much of it this morning as I normally do. But I was okay, though. I got hot coffee. I'm good to go here on a Friday. All right, so text me on the Country Pleasing text line. It is 885-3776. Got it? 601 number, 885-3776. You can also call me on the 𝐷Vinny Equipment phone line. 𝐷Vinny Equipment in Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. Number to call is 897-1059. That's a 601 number, 897-1059. So get on in here, and let me hear from you here today on this Friday. Okay, so you are Super Bowl Friday. In a couple of days, you're going to be watching Chiefs and Eagles in Super Bowl Licks, LIX. That'll be for 59. So we got that one coming up. You got basketball, the whole slate of it. SEC men's basketball going to happen tomorrow. I'm sure at some point today we will get a countdown from Nick or someone. Even though Beaver's tired of it, we're getting really awfully close to the start of college baseball season. What are we, a week away? So, yeah, I mean, you know, pretty soon things are going to get really hectic really quickly. So a little bit of everything going on. Oh, and before we're done today, not now. I don't have time to get into it right now. We got some other stuff we're going to do. But before we get into it, I just want to mention, I've got to, later in the show, I got to fill Beaver in on crazy drivers in and around the Jackson metro area. I've just had several incidents here lately, and I'm beginning to think that it's me. And so anyway, I'm going to have to run that by Beaver coming up just a little bit later. I'm starting to think, is it me? Anyway, all that and more coming your way here on this Friday. You know, I mentioned basketball. If you turn on the radio tomorrow, you're going to hear this guy. Hey, I know him as Neil. Y'all know him as the voice of the Bulldogs. Previously, it's been just all of football and all of men's basketball, but starting this year, it'll put baseball on the plate as well. He is Neil Price, play-by-play announcer on the radio for Mississippi State, and he's on your radio right now. Neil, welcome to the show. Are y'all in Georgia already?
No, not yet. Going to leave a little bit later this afternoon, but we're getting ready to head that way in a little bit. Hope we can find a way to come back with a win.
Yeah, I know it's going to be important. You know, I guess they're all important this time of year. But Neil, you know, first of all, I have not. You've been busier than I've been. I've been busy. But you've been busier than I've been. I hadn't had a chance to tell you, but congrats on being named the new voice of Mississippi State baseball, too, here within the last couple of weeks. A big pat on the back and a tip of the cap to you. I know you're excited about that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And, you know, I think they're going to be I haven't done the overlap in a while, and I've been trying to kind of map that out and see what it looks like. But, yeah, busy is the word, you know, here these next probably – yeah, well, what you hope, I mean, you hope that basketball continues to go well and that they're making a run, you know, through the SEC tournament and on into March. And, you know, if that's the case, you hope you're buckled up for what's going to be a pretty busy, you know, month from about mid-February through, you know, mid to late March. So it comes with the territory. But after 8 years away from it, it's going to be an adjustment again for sure.
Sure. Neil Price on your radio right now. Live here on this Friday. They're going to hit the road later and head over to Georgia. Neil, for those listening that might not know, you know, sort of your background, take me back to your experience when you were at Kentucky. And I know you were doing baseball there for the Kentucky Wildcats for many years, right?
Oh, yeah, 12 of them. You know, so that was when I graduated college at Middle in 2004, I think that's right. It all gets away from me the older I get. I had done baseball at Middle for a couple of years, and Kentucky was looking for someone at that point to just do baseball. A guy named Drew Diener had done their game. Drew had gotten a job working in television in Louisville and stepped away from it. So I was coming out of college, scared to death that I didn't have a job lined up and I needed one. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so I applied and knew some people who knew some people and wound up getting an interview and, you know, really just got lucky from the standpoint of I applied to just do the baseball games, and they were at a point there where they just signed a new rights agreement in 2005 and said, hey, we need somebody to do women's basketball too. Yeah, I can do that. Been doing that at Middle for the last few years, and yeah, I'd love doing both, and turned into a full-time job. And golly, you know, 12 years, longer than I've been anywhere, you know, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. And, you know, got plenty of reps doing games, whether it was basketball games or baseball games, and worked into being a part of the football broadcast there and everything else. And then, you know, I mean, the first guy I met in any official capacity, probably with the school, was the guy who was the baseball coach, a guy named John Cohen. I met him standing behind home plate in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on a Thursday night before a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series got started. That was the first weekend I worked for him in mid-March of 2005. And, you know, you don't ever have an idea of where life's going to take you. But I didn't know that 3 years later, John would be off to be the baseball coach at State, and then later would leave that role to be the athletic director at State. and would turn around and hire me here in 2017 to do football and basketball. So it's funny how life works sometimes. But here we are, and kind of falling back into it again, and doing all three of them now. And I appreciate the athletic department thinking of me. I think that there was a thought that having one person represent the athletic department on the radio all the time, or at least as much as one person can, would be a good thing. Listen, of every Division I school, Matt, you know this. I mean, no two do it the same way.
That's right.
That's just kind of how it is today. But I think that they thought this was a good move, and I certainly can see the logic in that, and glad that they thought enough of me to ask, and that I'm able to help.
Yeah, Neil Price on your radio right now. Neil, so does that mean, if I'm hearing it right, when you were at Kentucky, when you did women's basketball and you were doing baseball, you had experiences there where the two seasons were overlapping some there at Kentucky?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, February and March, that was just that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you do a baseball game on a Tuesday night. There aren't as many midweek games now, it feels like, as there used to be. But at Kentucky, there was, early in the year especially, there was a Tuesday night game. There was a Wednesday night game, or Wednesday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, depending on time change. And then you had women's basketball on Thursday night. Then baseball would have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in there, and women's basketball would play another Sunday afternoon game. Yeah. We went through all of that. And, when Matthew Mitchell was coaching at Kentucky, we had some good teams. And, we were playing to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament most years. And, so you had that long overlap. And I really hope that's kind of what happens here, because, Chris Jans has shown us he knows what he's doing. He knows how to get teams to that point of the year. They just need to have a breakthrough in the NCAA tournament, and hopefully this is the year that they do it. It's something that will become a regular thing, and we're talking about second weekend and beyond of the tournament for them too, and trying to figure out how we're going to staff all of it. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's right. It is a good problem to have. Neil, and I saw this week, I know I'm jumping around here, but I saw maybe it was a tweet or something. Somebody posted something about a rumor of sickness, illness kind of making its way through the locker room for State going into this weekend. Have you heard any of those whispers in and around the program?
I think Coach Jan said as much in his press conference yesterday. He called it the crud, and I think it's kind of common for any team, when you're talking about being in the middle of winter, and you're traveling around as much as you are. Guys are going to class. Obviously you're on campus, and you're talking about, doesn't matter if it's here or anywhere else. You're talking about being in the general population with all the other students who, they're out, and people are going wherever, and, it just happens. So everybody deals with it a little bit. I saw that Tennessee had been dealing with the flu that had gone through their program. I think both of their men's and women's programs in the last week. It's just part of it. Everybody deals with it at some point, and hopefully that week away, not having a game middle of this past week, would give them some time to get past it. Everybody get feeling better about life again, feeling better, getting healthy, and then hopefully ready to go again for this stretch run that starts on Saturday.
Yeah. Neil Price on your radio right now. And so I'm skipping back. When you did women's basketball at Kentucky all those years, and you were doing baseball, you had times that overlapped. Then at Kentucky, in that time in your career, did you also have a color analyst you were working with in both of those sports, or were you flying solo?
No, did it all by myself.
Oh, man. Both.
Yeah. So that will be the biggest adjustment for me is not just going back to it, but going back to it with people to work with. And that's not a bad thing. It's not now, especially when you think about the two people that I'll get to work with.
Sure.
Ron Polk, the guy who literally wrote the book on the sport. So you've got all the knowledge that he has, and being able to pick his brain or throw things off him as a game unfolds. I'm looking forward to that and just what I'll learn from being around him. And then Jay Powell won the World Series. I mean, so you got a guy that has been literally on the biggest stage that you can be in the game, and just good guy too. Fun to talk to, fun to be around. So I'm looking forward to that and being able to hopefully ask them some intelligent questions that will allow them to showcase all that knowledge and inform the fan base and give people some perspective. And I'll have to lean on them for the historical piece of it too. I've told people Jim did this for 47 years, and in a lot of ways he helped build the popularity of the program.
Sure.
Any great player who's played here in the last 50 years, Jim Ellis's name belongs right there with any of those folks because he helped build the program just like they did. But Jim had that historical perspective he could bring to every game. I don't have that and won't have that. So I think that's where Coach Polk and Jay come in too, is not only can they explain, what's happening on the field, why Chris Lemonis maybe pushes this button at this time, but they also can give you some history and relate it back to something that they've encountered in their career as a player or a coach here. So I'm going to lean on them a lot to help me kind of get back into it and get my feet wet.
Yeah. Neil, you just said the number, and I mean, doesn't it, when you even hear yourself say it, I hear you say, doesn't it just almost knock you back to think, man, Jim Ellis did this for 47 years, calling one team. I mean, it's almost hard to wrap your head around how somebody can do it for that amount of time.
Well, what I've learned is that people here just don't leave. Jack did it 58 years. Jim did it 47.
Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I won't do it that long. I won't be anywhere near that. So that's impressive, and I think it speaks to how much those people love the place. Certainly, it speaks to their devotion to it, and it's something that won't happen again. I mean, you had Jim, you had John Cox at Southern Miss, and David Kellum at Ole Miss. All those guys been doing baseball for 47 years. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And and this is the only state that I know of where you've got those 3 Division I schools where something like that has been going on that long. So it's pretty impressive. And and I've told people, I mean, this part of the job for me, I think this will be tougher in many ways than coming in and doing football and basketball because, Jim, whether people realize it or not, Jim made it easier for me to take over doing football and basketball in 17 because for 7 years he did all 3, and he stepped into the impossible task of being the guy who followed the guy.
Yeah.
He directly followed Jack Crystal, and even though they were so closely associated with each other because for probably 3 decades of that or more, they were on the radio together. He still made it easier for me to not have to be the guy who followed the guy. This will be much more like that because Jim was the guy, for 47 years. And anyone who's followed state baseball affiliates Jim Ellis's voice with some memory or a series of memories that came along with that. So this will be, I think, the hardest thing I've done since I've been here, without question.
Yeah. Neil, about a minute left or so. Your time at Kentucky. I'm going to ask you a question. You can't say Dudy Noble. All right, so Dudy Noble's off the table as far as answers, other than Dudy Noble. The road trip and stadium on the road that you visited that you enjoyed the most or most looked forward to going to on the road? I know it's a tough question, but what would you say?
Yeah, the old box at LSU was pretty interesting. yeah, that was, you sat outside in the seats with the crowd. It was nothing fancy to look at, but man, they'd have a good time in there now. And, you always saw some really good teams in there. When Carolina opened their new place, the new ballpark at Carolina, which isn't that new anymore, but it was really cool to go over there. That was a good place. Those two probably come to mind immediately. A&M's a sneaky good place to watch a baseball game if people don't know that, and they've got more Bluebell ice cream there than you eat in a weekend, because trust me, I tried. I guess those three. Okay. Those are the three that come to mind.
Very cool. Neil, really do appreciate you. One of our listeners, he tunes in on YouTube. His name is Sven, and he's over in Berlin, Germany. He's a big State fan. He said, Matt, say thanks to Mr. Price for so many good coverages of the games. Sometimes it's the only way I can get them over here, and he's talking in Berlin, Germany. So you're across the pond, too. He just wanted to tell you thanks.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, Neil, safe travels to Georgia this weekend. We'll be listening. Thank you for your time.
All right, Matt. See you.
Yeah, man. See you. Neil Price, voice of the Bulldogs. Cool to catch up with him here on a Friday. And you can listen to him and Coach Williams tomorrow on the call of the State game. They'll be at Georgia. It's a big game for State. A lot of ranked opponents after this. Georgia might as well be one. They're really tough at home. And State's got to get its legs back under it. As you heard him, they really need to pick up a win. All right, just getting started with you here on this Friday. Texts, calls, comments coming up in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Stick around.
Oh, you like this? It's the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence. Just like you, it's going to do great things, like summarize Dad's never-ending work emails or create a custom memory movie.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up through a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards, The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. What that is.
At thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. Hope y'all enjoyed the conversation with Mr. Neil Price, the voice of the Bulldogs. Now, not times 2, times 3. He's doing all 3 of the big men's sports, football, basketball, and he'll be doing baseball. This will be his first year as the play-by-play baseball announcer this spring, and so really happy for him and happy for state fans. It'll be different without Mr. Jim for sure, but Neil's the right guy to try to step in there and fill those shoes. Of course, we get Coach Polk some and Jay Powell some, and so that's really going to be a treat to get to listen to them on the radio doing baseball. All right, and you can comment. Show is live. At first, I thought we had an audio issue, but we don't. Everything's cool over there on Facebook and YouTube and streaming on X. And so if y'all just drop a comment, it'll get in here. You can text me or call me. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. The number to text, 885-3776. 601 number, 885-3776. Jason out in Flagstaff, Arizona, says, free for all Friday. Cool. He says, talking about fishing in North Mississippi the other day, Bay Springs, Pickwick particularly. He said, if I were at home, I'd be watching this lake like a hawk. Great fishing when it's flooded just a bit. Says, and you can get up into the woods and the grass. Yeah, when it floods. You know, and that's it. I'm seeing what you're seeing. He sent me the 7-day precipitation. Yeah, and over the next week, North Mississippi, where those lakes are, we're going to get some rain. Really, all of the state is going to get some rain. But Northeast Mississippi, where you got Pickwick and Bay Springs, they're going to get full and probably warm because it's going to be on the front side of the cold front. And so it'll be warm rain and warm air, and so it'll be a little warmer, and I bet you can catch them. We'll talk about fishing a little bit later. Jason, heads up. Pew's coming on. Yep. Old Larry, he'll be by later. Looking forward to that. All right. Jerry texted the show, and he said, Matt, I'm not going to be able to listen much today, but want to say thanks again for sharing your testimony last night. Yeah, the doctor we were trying to remember, Walter Shelton. Yeah, I got to meet Mr. Shelton. Okay, that's it. I had met him earlier in the night, and it was great to meet you face-to-face too, Jerry. I appreciate you listening and being a part of the show. I really enjoyed it. Sharing a testimony, talking about Jesus with the people at First Baptist Jackson last night. It was awesome. Appreciate my man Chuck. You know who you are, Chuck McIntosh. He invited me. Appreciate Chuck. All right, Hog Jowl, he texts the show. He says, there are those folks that when they talk have a very calming and tranquil voice. It says Neil is one of those people. Yeah, he does. He gets it. He's got the gift, as they say. MSU 1980, he texted me on here on the Country Pleasing text line. He said, I'm looking forward to hearing Neil do baseball, but I'm sure going to miss Jim. Yeah, I know it's kind of bittersweet, right? For everybody, you're going to miss Jim, but we'll enjoy listening to Neil as well and kind of being on the front end of that history. That'll be fun. Let's see here. Yeah, over on YouTube, Sven, you are right about that. Said we're going to need some hoops wins. We were kind of looking ahead yesterday at the schedule, what's ahead for state, and it's tough now. I mean, it's just every Saturday, every Tuesday/Wednesday, it is tough in this SEC. He said, did everyone notice that state plays the bottom 7 in baseball in the SEC and only 3 of the top 8, 2 of them at home, and then only LSU of those on the road? You know, I didn't. And when you say, I guess what, that's after the coaches' preseason poll came out, which, what was that? That's this week, a couple of days ago. So it's been really recently that preseason coaches' rankings for the SEC came out, and State in the middle of the pack, Ole Miss kind of just in the back half of the pack. We'll see how all that shakes out. Look like the coaches picked Texas A&M. They got Coach Schlossnagle and A&M number 1, not Tennessee, coming into this year. That's according to the coaches. I saw that. But, yeah, I guess that would be according to those. I had not seen it that way and compared it to state schedule. But, you know, it almost, Sven, feels a little bit like, you know, the basketball thing this year too is, you know, it's just tough. It doesn't matter who you play and where, home, away. It's just going to be, you better be on every weekend or it's just going to be a tough road to hoe. The league is that good, for sure. Yeah, it's true. Thanks, Josh. You reminded me. He left A&M, went to Texas. Who did A&M hire? I'd forgotten that. He was at A&M, and now he bolted and went to Texas. This will be his first year at Texas. Who did A&M hire? They hired one of the assistants maybe that was under Schlossnagle. I don't even remember now. I just saw where the coaches picked them number 1. Thanks for the correction. I'd totally forgotten here that he left and went to Texas, and it was much debated, everything, you know, about that move. Hey, let me, I've gone too far. Where's my bell? Let's check in with the man. Hey, Beaver.
Hey, Matt White.
Happy Friday, sir.
You too.
Beaver, can I ask you a question about driving in and around the Jackson area?
Of course.
You ever had anybody get mad at you and shoot you the bird?
Yeah.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a common thing?
No, it's not really common. The last time it happened, I guess technically I instigated it. It was one of those situations. I was on Old Fans on the way here, and you had this moment where some butthole in a big truck came up and was just like riding my bottom.
Yeah.
And there was a car over here. So I did the thing, I think we've talked about this, where I slowed down just a little bit. I'm not going to come to a full stop because you're going to run into the back of me.
Right.
But I slowed down just a little bit when he's right there in my bottom. And then he was finally able to get over in the right lane. And as he passed, he threw the bird.
Well, I've been birded twice this week. Okay, once in Tupelo, once in Jackson yesterday. And then this morning in Pearl, down there, I was coming out I spent the night in a hotel down there by Bass Pro, and I was coming out, getting up on 20. So you're coming away from, there's a Dunkin' Donuts right there, you know, and then you're coming up to get on the entrance ramp onto 20 right there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And
like this, it was at 5:30 a.m. There's almost no one in sight. And I looked and made sure, and it wasn't like I was going slow. I pull out, I hit the road, I get on the entrance ramp. Here I go up the ramp, and all of a sudden there's a car behind me flashing his headlights at me. Like, get out of the way sort of deal. Okay. So let me back up. B, see if you can capture this scenario in your head. Yesterday afternoon, I'm going south on 55. I'm about to hit Lakeland, right there where the hospital is, right? So south on 55, I'm going to take the Lakeland exit. And, there's 2 turning lanes to ease over to the right to the exit ramp, takes you up by the hospital to get on Lakeland. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I get over in the second to the right lane. There's 2 lanes, both of them exiting. I get over in the second one, the nearest one to me. I look in the rearview mirror. I'm going like 70, frankly. I look in the rearview mirror. Here comes a car flying up behind me, just flying and right up onto my butt. Okay. And I don't slow down or anything. I'm just thinking, I'm just glad she didn't hit me. And then she whips it over to the right in the other turning lane. Now we're both in an exit lane to get on Lakeland up by the hospital. Floors it. She goes past me. She rolls her window down, sticks her arm out, and flips me the bird. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what just happened. Okay. I honestly don't know what happened. So, but here's the thing. She's on the exit ramp, right? She goes flying past me. We're both in the exit ramp. You know where she went? She went about 400 yards and stopped at the red light. Uh-huh. So here I come. I'm about to pull right up beside her. I've got nowhere else to go. We're both exiting. It's unavoidable that I'm going to pull right up beside her. So I go pulling right up beside her. She's already up there, right? I take out my cell phone, my handy-dandy iPhone from C-Spire, and I'm thinking, I'm going to take her picture. So as I pulled up beside her, I sort of get tickled. I start laughing. This is tickling me because it was unavoidable. I pulled right beside her. And when I did, I raised my phone like I was going to take her picture. She rolled her window down, smiled from ear to ear, and birded me again for the camera. And I'm just thinking, what is the point of all this? And then, so all these things are starting to make me think maybe it's me. I've been driving since I was 16 years old. I've never been flashed at and birded this many times in a short period of time in my career as a driver. Starting to think it's me. I just wondered if people are people just mad and like in a hurry in Jackson these days? Is it just me?
I got thoughts on this. I'll share with you later.
On the other side, stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there, Murray West. You can find them online, MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up to a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, you know, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade, and what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and, you know, we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage.
Okay, so that was yesterday afternoon, B, where she flipped me off twice. And the second time I took her picture. Did you see the picture I sent you, Beaver?
Yeah, I did. And that explains a lot. I see the type of person we're dealing with.
Okay. And then this morning, okay, that was yesterday afternoon. Okay. Then this morning, like I said, I was in a hotel over there close to Bass Pro. I'm leaving there. I come out, you know, out the drive that brings you out by the Duncan, turn right. I'm going to get up on the entrance ramp. Well, it's 5:30 a.m. It's dark, and out of nowhere, there's some car behind me as I'm just pulling up onto the entrance ramp onto I-20 who's right on my bumper and like flashing his headlights. And I'm thinking, did I leave something? But then immediately I'm like, no, I didn't leave. Nobody's trying to track me down here. What is this? And the thing is, I wasn't going slow. You know, generally, I have a lead foot. So we're on the entrance ramp. There's nowhere for me to go, Beav. I just drive a little faster. I think, oh, this person's in a real hurry, I guess, you know. So I go a little faster to get on up on the highway quicker. Still, right on my bumper, flashing lights. We get on 20. This guy in his car, he whips around. Again, 5:30 a.m. He whips around me to the left. And then when he goes past me, he tries to, like, cut me off, like pull in front of me to force me to slow down or something. And then when he got on 20, you know what he did? He just drove normal. It's not like he had his flashers on and was having an emergency, and then he took off on I-20 like he was headed to the hospital or something going 100 miles an hour. He was not having an emergency. I don't know. I still don't know what it was about. I have no clue what it was about. And once he got past me, he's like, okay, well, he just drove 70 like a normal person just driving on I-20. It had me thinking, okay, is it me? Is God trying to tell me something with these incidents? Or are things getting kind of crazy on the roads around Jackson?
Okay. Let's start with the flashing lights. Now, I encounter this from time to time, you know, people flashing their lights behind you and whatnot. Let me answer the question first of all. I guess I'll preface it with no, it's not you, because we just have a lot of people on the road. There's more and more people on the roads these days. Yeah. And there's a lot of them who are just selfish.
And angry.
They think their time is more important than anybody else's.
Yeah.
And that's what it all boils down to. That the roadway is theirs. That you should be driving, you should be doing what they think you should be doing. They need to get somewhere.
Yeah.
So the flashing lights, I've encountered this, and I've realized that I'm not going to do anything for you. If you're a regular car behind me and you have flashers, the only flashing lights I care about on the roadways is law enforcement, the fire department, or the fire trucks, ambulances.
Right.
Okay, unless you have any of those, I don't care if you're a regular human out there trying to flash your lights at me. Oh, I need you to speed up. Well, why? You just want to get to your destination faster, which all goes back to selfish. Your time is more important than ours.
Right.
The flipping off thing, that is so old, and I mean, why is that still a thing? Only with certain people. Like I said, you sent me the picture.
Yeah.
It's not surprising to see the type of woman we were dealing with.
Yeah.
That's old. Well, I mean, I think I've told you this before. When someone does something really stupid, like right beside me or something, or pulls out like real close to in front of me, I just give a sarcastic thumbs up.
Oh yeah, I got you.
I just give them a thumbs up. That finger, and they don't get it because they're probably stupid anyway.
Yeah.
But at least it makes me, because they don't realize it's a sarcastic thumbs up. But
yeah.
That's the finger I'll go with.
I've had some times where, someone may honk at me or whatever. And, like I've had a few in my life where I obviously was in the wrong on something. Like I didn't see somebody, and when it's that way, you're apologetic. Okay. But other times where, somebody's just, like you said, they're selfish. They think, okay, I can't wake up in time to leave in time to get to work in time by driving speed limit or close to it. No, I'm irresponsible and lazy. I wake up late, and it's everybody else's responsibility to adjust to me and get out of my way so that I can drive dangerously and way too fast so that I might get to work close to the time to be there. And it's everybody else's responsibility to put up with me. Those kind of people. And they'll honk or whatever. Well, Beav, what I have done a few times too is like really wave with a big smile and say, hey, like, oh, that's so-and-so. I try to mess with their head and make them think, he thinks I'm honking because I know him. And that's one way to diffuse it. Now, I got another piece of information for you, Beaver, and I want to see if this changes things. Again, to the idea, is it just me? That was yesterday afternoon and this morning in Jackson. But 3 mornings ago, in Tupelo, taking Mary Liddy to school, so this is like 7:30 a.m., a guy in Tupelo in a pickup truck on her side of the car, on the passenger side of the car, looked right at both of us, right at my 13-year-old daughter, an old man in a pickup truck, and just flipped us the bird as plain as day, right in my daughter's face. And what it was, picture this, Beav. We got two lanes headed one direction, a right lane and a left lane, coming through Tupelo on a main road on Gloucester. And there's an entrance ramp coming up from another road. This person coming up the entrance ramp in his pickup truck, he has the yield sign, as you are known to have on entrance ramps, correct? You with me? Mm-hmm. He has the yield sign. Now, I'm in the right lane of the two lanes, and I would normally get over to the left so that he could just come on in. The problem was I had someone on my other side. I could not get over. Two of us, one in the left lane, I'm in the right. Here we go. He's got the yield, but he's driving a big truck, pickup truck. So he doesn't yield, and he just comes into the lane. The car next to me sees what's happening, hits her brakes, and thankfully she did it, so I swerve over in front of her to avoid getting hit on Mary Liddy's side of the car. And when I swerve, I hit the horn to let him know there's a car here. He looks right at me and right at Mary Lydia in the face, and bam, big bird finger right in her face. He's in the wrong, 100% in the wrong. It would have been a wreck had the person in the other lane not realized what was happening, and then birds me. So we do this. We pull up to the red light. He's behind me. And while we're sitting at the red light, I take my phone out and turn around and look at him and boink, take his picture. Okay. Just like the one I took for you and I sent to you, Beaver, of the other person. Now, Mary Lydia's in the passenger seat, and she is level-headed. She goes, Dad, just stop it. You know, whatever. It's just a bird. Who cares? Doesn't bother me. And then I told her, I said, yeah, but here's the thing, Mary Lydia, you're my daughter. Okay. It is built into me to, like, you know, I defend you, protect you in any situation. I'm emotional when somebody throws a bird in your face. She goes, it's fine. Just forget it. I don't care. Just move on. And she was totally fine after that. I'm the one whose heart was beating fast and ready to fight. She's like, just move on, whatever. She's more level-headed than me. So 3 times, 3 incidences in about 48 hours, 1 flashing lights, 2 bird fingers. Now do you see why I'm starting to wonder if it's just me?
Yeah, okay, that's a trend.
That's what I'm saying. And I really think if I were at fault, I would tell you right now, yeah, it's my fault. But in none of these, I didn't even know what was happening. Like, I'm driving normal. If it happens,
maybe you should just stop driving. Leave the driving to Annabeth.
Yeah, that's the problem. I can't stop driving. Now, when I told the story about the woman in Jackson, I did get a text here from Ernest T. And he just said, Matt, on behalf of my wife, I'd like to apologize. Thank you. Thank you. Rebel Greg texts the show. He says, when folks ride your tail on the interstate or a road, turn your blinker on and tap your brakes. Eventually they will get off your tail because they have no idea what you're going to do. Yeah. Well. MSU 1980 text the show, says, Matt, we have some really bad drivers in the Jackson area. Some of them are just idiots. Okay, and again, I will say, Beav, if I were arguing this, as example A, that other people don't really know how to drive, it's the turn right on red thing. That would just be one example. Yeah, using blinkers, all that kind of stuff, but the turn right on red deal. Yeah, I mean, there's an example. Some people just don't know. On YouTube, JS290 said, I laugh at the flashing headlights when I'm doing the speed limit in the slow lane. Says, I just let off the throttle some. Oh, you just think we're going slow. Watch this. You know, Beaver nailed it in the first 5 seconds that he commented on it. It's all about selfishness. There are selfish people who inevitably are also selfish drivers, who the only thing they can possibly see, their mental capacity just isn't broad enough to understand that the world is not revolving around them and that they aren't the only ones on the road. That's really what it boils down to. Hour 2 coming up. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel team stuff. I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online, murraywest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up to a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com, at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please." They'll know what you're talking about.
In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay.
I'm 𝐷𝐸𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢 with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com, at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please." They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland. Just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta.
Now, here we go. At the Zone, 1059.com.
Back with you, hour 2 of the show. Off and running with you on this Friday in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team, they are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance, all across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes, your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents in all 82 counties. Welcome to Friday. This is hour 2. Coming up in mere minutes, we're going to catch up with my friend Larry Pugh. He used to be the deputy director of the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. Now he's retired, and he's fishing and hunting and playing golf all the time. And I got to ask him about a picture that he posted of a fish that he caught that has me scratching my head. Okay. And so we got that coming up. JW on Facebook, thank you. He says, great seeing you last night at the Sportsman's Dinner. I'm all in. Attaboy, JW. Step on that side of the line. We had a good time last night. Reading scripture, talking about the gospel, and deciding, am I in or out? You know, which is it, in or out on Jesus? And JW says he's in. Good to see you too. And thanks for listening. A Hale State fan talking about the drivers, the angry drivers. He said, if you've never heard it, you need to listen to the YouTube clip from the Jim Rome show called Softball Guy. He said it's exactly what describes those drivers. Okay. I'll look it up. Yeah. Patrick with some good advice. Okay. We'll take Patrick's word for it. He says, tapping your brakes to brake check someone is illegal, and if they rear end you, it'll be your fault. Is that true? You might know. Rebel Tiger Dog says you just need to keep a small paper cup with roofing tacks in it. Yeah, I know. But see, again, that's the thing. Like that would be, then you're harming people who drive over those tacks who had nothing to do with it coming down the road later on. You can't do that. Jason in Flagstaff. See, now he's a long way from here. He's out in Arizona, and he says it's not just you. He says, and definitely not just Jackson. He says, a whole lot of why I've drastically cut down on my trips back and forth to home. The sheer number of wrecks I've seen on the interstate from people driving like morons. I'm telling you, man. Like something's up. Really. People, more so than ever. You know, and I'm on the road a lot too. But goodness. You know, it's one thing when you do foul it up, like you pull out in front of somebody, you didn't see them, whatever. But it's another thing when it's just like out of the blue, they show up, and it's like just because you exist, they will flip you off. Really? Well, at any rate, we will move on. Finally, Friday. So get on in here. You can be a part of the show. You can, like the aforementioned Jason and Rebel Tiger Dog and Patrick and others, you can text me on the Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. So I was saying they fed us some sausage along with frog legs and fried fish and French fries and slaw and a little bit of everything last night at the Sportsman's Dinner at First Baptist Jackson. And I knew it was country pleasing when I tasted it. I don't know what flavor it was, though. I was trying to guess. It could have been the Cajun flavor. That might have been what it was. Anyhow, it was outstanding. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-3776. It's a 601 number, 885-3776. Another good way to remember that is 885-ESPN. Yeah, and call me on the Davini phone, I'll give you that number when we open it back up. And right now on the Davini Equipment phone line, on line one, my friend, the former deputy director at the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. He's retired now. He's trying to see if he can go hunting, fishing, and playing golf every single day. I think he's succeeding so far. He's Larry Pugh on your radio. Larry, thanks for some time. Let me interrupt your outing. What are you doing today?
I've done a bunch of stuff around the house, and I've grocery shop, but I'm at the golf course now.
Attaboy. Good deal. Okay, Larry, thanks for joining. First time for me to get you on the radio show since you retired. So a tip of the cap and congratulations to you. And
thank you.
And I want to ask you about a picture that you shared very recently. And in fact, it might have even been yesterday. You went fishing at Lake Monroe in Monroe County.
Correct.
And you shared a picture of a walleye that you caught. Now, just start me off with, I didn't know walleye existed at Lake Monroe.
Well, before we get into that, let's say that walleye, there's a southern strain that is native to our part of the state,
really?
in the northeast part, on the tributaries of the Tennessee Tombigbee River.
Okay.
So Bull Mountain, Luxpalala Creek, the old Tombigbee River, and it's a pretty unique population. And we've done all the genetics. This fish has been studied for years, and it's pretty neat that strain of walleye is native to the Tombigbee Basin. So obviously our hatcheries have worked hard to learn how to spawn these fish and restock walleye in those tributaries.
Okay.
Each year.
Okay. Well, that is fascinating. Seeing again, it's one of those things that since I have been going and been involved with the Mississippi Outdoors podcast, it's like there are just it's every week almost where I come across something that MDWFP is doing that I didn't realize they were doing. So like this is another example of that. But that walleye, how big was it?
Almost 4 pounds. Beautiful female. And they're obviously, getting ready to spawn, but they're not going to spawn in the Lake Monroe or Lake Lamar Bruce or Davis Lake.
Okay.
We came up with an idea several years ago, probably 15 years ago, to start stocking some walleye in our state lakes, because it's much easier for our hatchery personnel to go to a state lake and catch those fish to take them back to the hatchery to spawn them versus trying to go catch them in Luxpalala Creek or Bull Mountain Creek or the Buttahatchee River.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that's how they ended up in the state lakes up here in northeast Mississippi. So they spawn. They carry. If they come and catch that big female, they'll have some males. They'll take those fish back to either the North Mississippi Fish Hatchery at Enid or the Tupelo National Fish Hatchery right there in Tupelo, Private John Allen, and they'll work together to spawn these fish and take those fry later in the year and restock those tributaries.
Man, that is really, really cool. And that was
It's a cool fish.
Well, and so were you intentionally targeting a walleye, or were you bass fishing and just caught it?
No, I was bass fishing, Matt, and it's water temps come up a lot this week, so I was just throwing a chatterbait off of some points at the mouth of some pockets, and got lucky. You never go to catch a walleye; you just hope to maybe encounter one.
Yeah.
And catching one on one of the streams is almost impossible. There used to be some folks that would catch them in Bull Mountain this time of the year, Bull Mountain Creek, and in Luxpalala Creek.
Okay, but you said catching them in those streams is almost impossible. Why is that?
Well, because it's not a very abundant fish. These creeks are real diverse, a lot of species, so they're not real abundant. We don't really have a good estimate of how many they are. I know they're hard to catch, even with something like a hoop net. But catching one on hook and line is is dang near impossible.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was really neat and 4 pounds, for any fish, that's a big fish.
Oh, yeah. And I should know the state record, but I forgot a lot in the last month. But I think the state record walleye, I want to say 8 or 9 pounds.
Okay.
Out of one of those tributaries.
Okay. See, that's really interesting.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. Well, and it's like it's just super curious to me because, someone like me grew up in the Southeast. The only thing I know about walleyes from watching TV shows like In Fisherman, and they're they're on a body of water in a northern state, and it's really cold, and they got those deep well boats, out on big water, and they're fishing straight up and down, and you just don't. It's fascinating to think that in Amory, Mississippi, you can catch a walleye with a chatterbait in February, for that matter.
Oh yeah. This time, if you're going to catch one, generally speaking, now if you're going to catch one on a state lake, it's going to be the next 6 weeks probably.
Okay.
And then after that, I've not caught one, of course, through the summer. But these fish are adapted. They're temperature tolerant of warmer temps.
Okay.
So they do extremely well. So don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Now, you can't keep any. Let me follow that up, Matt.
Okay.
The only place you can keep one is Davis Lake. You can keep one per person per day if you happen to encounter one at Davis Lake, south of Tupelo.
Okay.
But at Lake Lamar Bruce, Lake Monroe, Elvis Presley, if you catch one, you got to release it immediately.
Okay, got to release it. So take the picture and
after you take a picture.
Right. Larry Pugh on your radio right now. Okay, the other, and I assume it was the same fishing trip that you caught the walleye there. You also had a pretty nice largemouth. What did it weigh?
Almost 5 pounds. I think it weighed 489, and I weigh most of my fish that are pushing 5 or 6 pounds.
Yeah.
And I think it weighed 489, and I caught it really close to where I caught that other fish, or caught the walleye.
Okay.
Same bait, same deal. So, the water temp went from 45 to 56 to 58 in a week.
Really?
Yes.
How about so?
Surface temp
jumped as much as 13 degrees in 1 week.
On the state lakes.
On the state lakes, yeah.
Wow. I haven't been on Pickwick or Bay Springs. I won't start fishing the big lakes till the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Making those trips, but I was on Trace Lake last week, and it was 45, 46 degrees, and I was on LeVar Bruce Wednesday, and Lake Monroe and Elvis Presley yesterday, and it was 56 to 58.
Mm-hmm. How about that? Warming up quick. Okay.
It's happening.
All right, it's happening.
It's happening. You need to go.
You need to go.
Let's go. When you want to go.
Well, and see, here's what I'll bring to your attention. So Jason, who lives out in Flagstaff, Arizona, he's from the 𝐌𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 area, and he tunes in. And earlier in the show, he sent me a picture of, I guess maybe a screenshot of his phone. It's a 7-day precipitation outlook, and ending on the 14th, so into next week. And it's saying that between now and this time next week, northeast Mississippi is going to get, in some places, a lot of rain, maybe 3-4 inches. So in your experience, Larry, this time of year, so the temps are already warming up.
Yeah.
That rain that's going to fall ahead of these fronts, is it going to continue to warm it up, like it's been doing? Or is it just kind of stabilize what the temperature is?
No, I think we're going to fall back some. Looking at the temperatures that I'm seeing next week, I'm seeing highs in the 50s.
Yeah.
But you got to pay attention to what the nights are going to be. And I didn't look to see how cold it was going to be at night.
Okay.
But so water temp's probably going to come down some compared to what it is right now, which is fine. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to turn right around. You know how February can be. It can be 80 and snowing the next day.
Absolutely.
So 81 days and then snowing. So these days are going to get longer, and the fishing's just going to continue to water temp's going to get better. I'm not going to say the fishing's been good.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just get a lot more people out on the water.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so here's a curiosity question for you. You know, like in the wintertime, I'd always heard like the sauger fishing at Pickwick Dam. The colder, the nastier the weather is, the colder it is, the better that kind of fishing is. So here you are, you start creeping into mid-February, water temperatures have warmed up. Does it have the opposite effect on something like people that have been catching sauger on Pickwick? Does that start to go away as this other stuff changes?
No. Okay. No. You got to remember, sauger are trying to, make a run, and they call it a sauger run. So they're making a run upstream to spawn.
Okay.
So just like any other fish this time of year, they're getting triggered by longer day lengths, warming water temps to start making their, spring spawning run.
Okay.
So it's not going to hurt the sauger fishing. Now, the one thing that could hurt is too much discharge, on the Tennessee River, which is, where you go fish for them. If you get a lot of rain, you get a lot of discharge, a lot of current. That makes it very difficult to sauger fish.
Yeah, right.
So
harder to stay up.
Yeah. 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 Hardest. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be there.
Right.
Below those gates.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. Larry Pugh on your radio right now. So last week, one of our listeners, Real C. Yeah, rumor is C stands for Chris. I told him it stands for crappie because he's always sending me crappie pictures. And he and his son sent me some pictures of some big crappie they were catching. So I guess it's the same with bass. That water temperature, surface temp starts coming up. The crappie fishing picks up. Does it get shallower as the water temperature picks up?
Do the crappie or bass get shallower?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Like,
is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Oh yeah. You know that. And it's all relative. But over time, when we start looking at, when fish are going to be spawning, when they're going to start trying to start bedding, you're looking at it's a month away, and it'll be happening. So, yeah, these fish are going to want to start pushing shallow, and want to start preparing to spawn. So, a place like Sardis, it might be 6 weeks away or 8 weeks away on crappie. It tends to run a little later than some of the lakes around here. But they're definitely, crappie fishing at Sardis and Grenada has been really good the last week and a half.
Okay. For someone like you, Larry, let me ask you this. Do you turkey hunt? Are you going to plan on turkey hunting?
Well, you can't hunt, fish, or play golf every day. So I've actually got a couple of shows lined up we're going to try to film with Mississippi Outdoors. One's a youth hunt, and then another one's just, a regular turkey season hunt.
Okay.
So I've never gotten into turkey hunting. I've been several times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really need to have a successful hunt because I guess I got time for another hobby now, but they say it's pretty addictive.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so you've got a little more time on your hands, and I was just thinking, okay, if you're going to pick that up, how are you going to decide between how are you going to choose on a given day which one you're going to do? That's just what I wonder.
Well, Matt, I don't like playing golf in cold weather anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So really 60 degrees is my target temp.
Okay.
And I don't like fishing in hot weather anymore. So I'll transition from fishing to golf here, in the next several months. I won't be fishing much during the summer.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Well, and
friends with boats. Waiting on the call. Waiting to bring them on.
I'm going to call you the FWB tour, the Friends with Boats tour.
Yeah.
I'm printing out shirts and hats. We're going to get some sponsors, and we're starting the tour. But yeah, listen, Larry, thank you for some time, and thanks for the story on the walleye. And I'm going to keep following you on Facebook, and I'll call you back soon when you catch another big one. Okay.
Man, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Good to talk with you.
You too. Thank you. That's Larry Pugh. Like I said, the former deputy director at the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. He is officially retired. And I don't know. I genuinely think he may have been either playing golf, fishing, or hunting every single day. I think he might have actually done that so far. But yeah, you might check him out. You can find him on Facebook. He posted those pictures. And it said walleye. And at first I thought, is he joking? Because I had no clue. I did not know that. And prior to that interview with him right there, I didn't know that there was a stocking and restocking program going on in some of the state lakes in North Mississippi with walleye. You know, and I mean, if you've ever watched, like I say, you watch, you know, the Lindners and In Fisherman TV and watch the walleye stuff on television in northern states, it's a walleye. But he said it's a strain that some of them, you know, occur naturally in some of the north and northeast Mississippi streams and creeks and stuff. And I'd never heard that. There he was with a 4-pounder on the deck of the boat. And again, he said, if you do in one of those lakes catch a walleye, you've got to immediately throw it back. Davis Lake is the only one you can keep one. Bass fishing, caught a 5-pounder. And accidentally catch a 4-pound walleye. There aren't many states in the union where you can go to a state lake and have that experience. 5-pound largemouth. 4-pound walleye. Same bait, same water, close to home. Rolling along with you here on this Friday in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around. Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here, leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number.
Don't worry, he's got a menu full on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at the Zone 105.9.com.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Beaver's here, you're here. Let's head over to the phone, the Davini Equipment phone line. We got Wayne on line 1. What's up, Wayne?
Oh, man, I'm the syrup man.
The syrup man. That is some good stuff, too. I appreciate you giving us that.
And whenever y'all need some more, I got plenty.
You got what?
Yeah, I said it, Beaver. I got plenty of it, buddy.
Oh, okay. All right.
But you talk about those guys, crazy folk on these interstates. I was coming up south of Byram, and a dang guy on one of those crotch rocket motorcycles.
Yeah.
I mean, he come between me and another car in the left lane. It scared me. It scared me. I had to say a nudie word or two.
Hey, that's exactly. That's what I was thinking when you said that, Wayne, is those things, what it is they surprise you because they come up so fast on those little motorcycles. They come up so fast it surprises you. Out of nowhere, it'll startle you when you see them, and then the sound that goes with it, because out of nowhere, it's just like, and it'll make me jump too. It's happened to me several times.
But when somebody cuts across you, I call that NASCAR.
That's about what it was like.
I mean, that's what I call it, NASCAR. You get NASCAR. that's what that motorcycle guy did to that guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But you just don't never know about these crazy folks.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I got the sense the last few days, like, it's just people are just angry. There's just a bunch of mad people out here. Need to pray for them, I guess.
I mean, years ago, I had a guy come up there, and he kind of come up on me real fast, and then he come back and he dashed car me.
Yeah.
I got that pickup. I was going in there. He could see me in that mirror. Come here, buddy. I mean, I wasn't mad at it, but god dang it. But anyway, whenever I had an MRI today on that shoulder, I think it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
So I can reach up above my shoulder.
Yeah, boy.
Reach above my head.
Okay.
But
all right. So you got a good report overall.
Well, I gotta go back to sports medicine. I got a little disc. But I'm confident. But if y'all need any insurance, man,
all right.
Y'all let me know.
Okay.
I got some more.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too, Wayne. Appreciate the phone call. Be safe on the road. Be safe out there. Watch out for the idiots. That's what my dad would always tell me. I'd be leaving, and he's always done that. I'm leaving to drive somewhere. I'm like, all right, I'll see you later. He's like, all right, see you later. Watch out for the idiots. whether it's true or not, it always made me think that the idiots were always somebody else, not me. True or not. On this day, 1985. How many years is that? 40? On this day, 40 years ago, the 100th episode of Magnum P.I. It was not a red Corvette. It was a Ferrari. I got corrected recently. Old Tom Selleck. If I could grow a big mustache like Tom Selleck, I would do it in a heartbeat. Mine's too scraggly. It doesn't look right. Magnum P.I., 100 episodes. They hit on this day in 85. That was their 5th season. And it was about 2/3 of the way into the season. And episode 100, this day 85, was the second part of a 2-part series of episodes of Magnum P.I. called All for One. Let's see. Magnum, Tyler, and Higgins are held prisoner by the Vietnamese major that has a reign of terror over Chong Kerr. As Rick recovers from his wounds, TC works with a local he's befriended trying to repair an old helicopter for their escape. But it becomes apparent that Tyler has been deceitful about the true nature of the mission. Let's go! All right. So there's that. Let's see. What's some other things that happened? 7 years before that, this day, 1978, they had a Mork and Mindy pilot movie. It's based on the Mork and Mindy television series. Robin Williams. On this day in 1988, they had the first episode of America's Most Wanted on television. Beav, you remember this? On this day in 2005, 20 years ago, the cable station MTV2 was relaunched for the second time.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? I didn't even know there ever was such a thing as MTV2.
Oh, yeah. MTV2 premiere August 1st, 1996.
Okay.
First video ever played, Beck.
Okay.
Where It's At. But I absolutely 100% do not remember that it had a relaunch 9 years later.
It said it relaunched for the second time. Now, does that mean 3? Because if you
that's what it sounds like when you word it that way.
You have a relaunch, but if you've relaunched for the second time, that's the third time. I'm really confused. Beaver, today, this reminds me. What does this remind you of, Beav? Today, February 7th, is National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. Does that remind you of anything?
I believe what you're probably Yep. Yep. I didn't need your hint, Matt Wyatt. I was going to say what you're probably looking for is I've eaten more fettuccine Alfredo and I've drank less water than ever before. I can't defeat rabies.
I can't defeat rabies. The Michael Scott, what was it? 5K rabies run for the cure or something like that. He thought he needed to, what did he do? He said, I need a carbo load before running a 5K in the heat, and he didn't drink any water. Before it's all over, he's just sitting on the sidewalk, and He can't go any further. He's like foaming at the mouth. Idiot. National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. In the sports world, I got some for you here. On this day in 1994, Michael Jordan signed a contract with the Chicago White Sox to play baseball. 94. Man. On this day in 95, a year later, President Clinton invited the two sides of the Major League Baseball strike to the White House in an effort to reach an agreement. It didn't work. The two sides did not resolve the issue that day. On this day in 1997, Jim Kelly announced his retirement from the NFL. He was the only quarterback to date at that time to guide the same team, this is bad, but it's true, to 4 losing Super Bowls. But he was a heck of a player. Imagine completing all those passes all those years in the wind in Buffalo in that old stadium they used to play in. And if you go even further back, on this day, back in 1965, Cassius Clay began using the name Muhammad Ali. That was February 7th, 1965. Now let's go way, way, way back. More, I got some more baseball for you. Way back. On this day, 1949, Joe DiMaggio signed a contract with the New York Yankees that was worth $100,000. The first 6-figure contract in Major League Baseball. Joe DiMaggio, 1949 on February 7th. 9 years? Was it 9 years? Yeah, 9 years after that, 1958. The Dodgers, they left Brooklyn, but on this day in 1958, they officially became the Los Angeles Dodgers. February 7th, 1958. All right, that's fun, as far as I'm concerned. Coming up next, we get a chance to end the show and end the week the right way. Bible questions with my friend Terry Fant on the Davini Equipment phone line. If everything goes according to plan, next with you. Staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. It's where it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. Back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance. Say it with me. Go with the home team. They are your home team. The Super Bowl is Sunday at 5:30 on Fox. Now, here's what I don't know. Like, if you look it up on any of the scoreboards out there, here's what I don't know. I don't know if the game starts at 5:30. It might, who knows? I mean, it might be one of those you turn it on at 5:30 and an hour later they start playing football. I don't know. Maybe they kick it off at 5:30. I don't know. It's Sunday evening. Okay, there we go. Close game. Prediction earlier in the week for me was Chiefs 23-20, winning it late after falling behind. That was my prediction. We'll see what happens. All right. Here it is on a Friday. Here it is on the back end of the last show of the week. It's a good way to end the show and a good way to end the week with a Bible question or two with my friend Terry Fant. He is the pastor at Hickory Ridge Baptist Church in Florence, Mississippi, and he's on your radio right now. Happy Friday to you, Terry.
Happy Friday, Matt. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting you say beautiful. I woke up this morning before sunrise. I'm in Pearl, and I drove to Tupelo. I left Pearl about 5:30. So in the course of that drive, I drove through a lot of thick fog on I-55. And I thought, okay, to me, images and things I see when there's thick fog around is just beautiful. Looking out across, certain scenery and stuff with fog. And then there's other people that may look at it and not think it's beautiful because the sun's not out. Maybe it's, Terry, maybe it's like that Ray Stevens song, Everything is Beautiful in Its Own Way.
In its own way. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Okay.
Hey, except for when they get behind you and flash their lights at you on the
You were listening, weren't you?
Anyway.
I'll tell you, I had enough of those incidents lately. It's got me thinking, okay, wait a minute. Is it me? Maybe it's me.
No.
Because
No, I don't think it's you. I don't think it's you.
Yeah, we just, people get in a hurry, and I think we got some mad folks around. But hey, I wanted to ask you a question about one single particular verse that is in Romans, and just see what your thoughts are, and see if we could talk about that here at the end of the show.
Okay.
Okay, and the verse is in Romans chapter 6, verse 23. It's a pretty short sentence. It's just one sentence. Romans chapter 6, verse 23, and it says, "For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord." Okay, so it's one verse. It's a very definitive statement that ends with a period, you know. But to me, it seems like there's so much in there. Okay, and on the surface, Terry, with this verse, and just kind of, what does it say to you, and what does the Lord speak to you when you read this or see this verse? Where do we start?
Okay, when you look at what Paul is saying in Romans 6, he's dealing with the issue of now that they are different. They're no longer slaves of sin, they're slaves of God unto righteousness. Leading up to this particular verse, and he says, you know, now that you have a life not bound to law and sin, but of righteousness, then you have fruit. You have something you produce.
Okay.
And so then he says, and what sin produces, the way sin, what it earns is death. But I'm talking about a contrast point. But the gift of God is eternal life. So think about what he's talking about here. Two comparisons: a wage, something you earn, and a gift, something you freely receive.
Right.
And
okay.
And interestingly, yeah, go ahead.
No, you keep going.
I was going to say, interestingly enough, we understand wage well. You know, we since with work, we trade an hour of work or a salaried agreement, a certain wage. We have that agreement up front. We know what it earns. But then with a gift, a gift by definition cannot be earned by the recipient. Because the moment it's earned, it becomes a wage. So you're thinking about the sin that we commit, which, by the way, is not just the bad things that we do. The word in the New Testament for sin is hamartia, and it's a Arthur's term. It means to miss the bullseye.
Okay.
So any action or thought or inaction that we do that misses the bullseye of God's perfect, holy, righteous standard is sin. And what that earns, what it deserves, is death. And that word literally means separation from God.
Okay. All right. And so, yeah, you know, okay, right. And the two parts of that sentence, the direct contrast of wages versus a gift. Okay. And so if what you're saying, okay, eternal life is a gift from God, meaning if you can earn it, it's not a gift. If you deserve it, it's really not a gift either, is it?
Right. That's exactly right. So again, we understand the earning system because really think about it, Matt. Every system that we're born into is a performance-based response. In other words, in the family, if you're a good kid versus maybe a sibling or yourself that acts out, well, you get more privileges, right? You go to school, you do well, you perform well, you earn higher marks.
Yeah.
You know, honor roll. Yeah. You play sports, you perform better, you start. Of the starters, you perform better, you make the all-stars. You go that direction with band or any particular thing. So our whole system that we're born into is about earning, but then God says, this is something you can't earn for yourself. I'm going to give you. And boy, you're talking about a struggle for us humans. We try to earn our way in.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to understand this idea of a free gift, you know?
Right. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Especially when he's offering it and he's giving that free gift to me when I know good and well I don't deserve it. You know, that's
oh man,
another part of it. Okay, and so it just seemed like there's so much there in this one short verse.
Yes.
Like, you know, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. But it didn't end there. Okay, in this verse, and Paul's writing it, gift of God is eternal life, and it says through Jesus Christ our Lord. And so he's saying God's giving eternal life, and the way he's giving eternal life is through Jesus Christ our Lord, which really brings it home to what is, when we hear the gospel, that's really what the gospel is, right?
Right. And people really struggle with this because they say, oh, that's awful. That's singular-minded. That's small-minded. But here's the deal. God is the offended party. And so he's the one who gets to settle the peace treaty with himself. And he made this peace agreement because there had to be the shedding of blood, and only perfect blood would do. Hence the virgin birth, God becoming man. And he says, what you couldn't do for yourself, I'm going to do for you. It's free gift. But here's the thing about a free gift, Matt. First, we talked about it being free. But the second part about a gift that we oftentimes miss out on is it must be received.
Right.
Let's say that, for instance, you had a corn farm, you're raising corn, and wild hogs got on it. They're tearing it up, taking food off your table. And I said, Matt, I got you something going to help you with that. I got you a gun, a night scope, whatever. Wrapped it in your favorite wrapping paper and put Matt White on it and left it on your desk. Now, if you left it in that wrapping paper, is it going to help you on your arm at all?
No.
Not at all. You have to receive it. You have to open it up. That's another thing about a gift. It's free, but just because it's there doesn't mean you get the benefits of it unless you receive it for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting you bring that up. A friend of mine I go to church with, we were talking this week. He owns some property, and he said, man, I'm trying to get rid of, I've got hogs. I'm trying to get rid of and find a trap. And I told him, I said, hey, the Department of Ag and Commerce, you can apply on their website, and they will bring you a trap. If you get one, they'll bring it to you and let you use it. It doesn't even cost anything. They just bring it to you. He said, really? And I was thinking, okay, that's what you're saying. It'd be like MDAC bringing them the hog trap and saying, there you go. And then he never uses it.
Right. Think about it like this. Even this way. Think about it this way. Because most people believe that this salvation gift thing is mental assent. In other words, your friend that you're talking about, you can say, well, do you believe that the Mississippi Wildlife Fisheries and Parks has a trap? Well, yeah, I investigated it. I see they have it on their website. I believe it in my head. But if you never take the action of asking them to bring it and agreeing to receive it, you can believe it in your head all you want. You still have to receive it.
You have to receive it. Yes. The gift of God is eternal life through Jesus.
And that's
Christ.
why John 1:12 says, as many as received him, to those he gave the right to be called children of God.
And that's what? John what?
1:12.
Say and quote that verse one more time.
As many as received him, to them he gave the right to be called children of God.
There it
to
is.
those who believe in his name.
There it is. That's John 1:12. And for those listening, the other verse we were discussing there is Romans chapter 6, verse 23, both of those in the New Testament. Great way to end the show and end the week, Terry. Thank you so much.
Matt, God bless you, man. See you soon.
All right, see you soon. Hang in there. That's Terry Fant, pastor at Hickory Ridge Baptist Church in Florence. As many as received him. There it is. For Beaver, I'm Matt. All of us here on the show, in the Bureau. Y'all have a great weekend. A safe Super Bowl Sunday. We'll reconvene on Monday. Same time, same place. See you then. See you.